Hey, good morning. It's John Wilkins, Mr. Foundation Core Coach. Um, have you ever wondered how and what kind of detail um, is involved in a combat fighter? So today I have here Brandon. They call me Bruce.
That's it. Bruce, Brandon Dreher. That's my name.
And Brandon is a Muay Thai fighter. Brandon, before we get started, let's tell everybody like what you've done so far. When did you start Muay Thai?
So I started training when I was just turned 17. I was a big MMA fan. Used to train with my dad a little bit. Um, then I just started doing Muay Thai. That was my first road into MMA. But then I just fell in love with Muay Thai, and years later, now we're here.
Yeah. So what have you been winning so far? Like what competitions?
So
have
I
you
have
done?
I've had a lot of experience now. I have 22 fights. I have two WKA national belts, which is a pretty big tournament, pretty prestigious in the East Coast. I've won a couple Gamma State regional championships, uh, and just, yeah.
No, what's a Gamma State?
So the Gamma State, it's like the New York State title. It's a sanctioning body, so they have their own belts, and basically, people in this region, you fight for that belt, and yeah.
Okay. So where are you training out of?
I'm training at Pharaohs Muay Thai
And that's we're in Sparta.
in Sparta, New Jersey.
And who's your coach?
Amr Ibrahim.
Yeah. So Armor's my coach also.
Yeah.
So I do privates 3 days a week. I've been doing it for 5 years. And I did it because not I wanted to fight. I do want to continue being able to defend myself if I have to, but I lost flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept stretching and stretching and stretching, and just wasn't really improving. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to do karate. I did Goshindo and I did Taekwondo,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember being able to kick over everybody's head because I was so flexible. And then as you get older, I'm 55 now, so I started Muay Thai at 50, and I couldn't kick above his knee. I was kicking around the shin because I was just so not flexible. So in the 5 years I've been doing it, he's 6'2". I can now kick up to his head, you know.
Mhm.
But if I stop, I've been traveling a lot last year. It like almost starts all over again. So it's something you got to continue doing.
Yeah, you got.
Plus, I feel good because it does get that anaerobic, you know, and plus you're kicking something and punching something, elbowing something.
Oh yeah.
I used to box, and boxing was just hands,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I was like, man, this is real good stuff here, you know. So what is your typical week of training like?
So usually, well, now I use the finisher as well. So I use that bar for my conditioning, but with Muay Thai, I train in the morning and train at night. So I'm trying to train twice a day, usually about an hour, 2 hours, do lots of pad work, live sparring, clinching. Yeah, just getting the reps in. It's all sport specific, and then working on the bar.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you feel is like your biggest asset like?
My biggest asset, probably being a smart fighter, high IQ. I think I'm in very good shape. So my conditioning, I have a good mind for the game, I believe. Yeah.
And what's the like at the level you are right now? What kind of fighter are you looking to fight next?
I'm trying to fight the best people they could put in front of me. I'm trying to move up, trying to go pro soon, trying to make my pro debut this year. So I got this big USA national tournament coming up to compete for Team USA, which would be awesome.
And when is that?
And that is in March.
Where is that?
That is in Delaware.
Okay.
And
have you done this one before?
I did it last year, and I came in second. I lost a very close fight in the finals.
To who?
To this kid, Anthony Schleicher. Very good competition. He has like 40 fights, a lot of experience. And then, yeah, and if I win that, I get to go travel, compete for Team USA. And yeah, it'd be a great
All
Pretty
right.
cool.
And what does Team USA mean?
So it's like we're competing for. It's called IFMA, is the sanctioning body, and they run the whole Muay Thai. It's like a big, almost like a World Games type challenge. So all the teams from different countries will come and you compete.
Oh, gotcha.
Fly out to either I think it's Turkey this year, and and you meet and you're fighting pros, high level.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the elite of the elite.
Yeah. So one of the things, that I do Muay Thai, one of the things that I noticed was range of your punches. Like, where's the most amount of power at the end of your punch with your arm is straight, right? So when we work out, we concentrate on that part and that grip strength, right? So as I'm extending those punches out and I'm not locking that arm out and I'm not snapping that punch at the end, my hand is not at its strongest, right? So Shock Foster is one of the professionals, he's a WBC world champion.
Yeah.
I had him on the bar, and a couple fights later, I don't think he was doing the bar, but a couple fights later, he broke his hand. So I reached out to his manager, and I'm like, yo, after that hand heals up, put him on that bar. And everything he does, get full extension. So we'll talk about that now. So one of the things that I find is there's a disconnect between what our sport is or what our profession is in terms of professional football, baseball, Muay Thai, and our training. So when you leave the mat and you're doing all your pad work and all that stuff, when you come to the gym, you got to follow the same principles in the gym as you do out when you're
on the mat
when you're doing your work, and just like every other sport,
definitely.
But what happens is we disconnect and we end up doing like a bench press, we end up doing like a squat and a deadlift that are totally not related, but we can change those exercises and make them into something that, as I'm teaching you your training, right? I'm also saying the same things that you're hearing. And your with your trainer.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're using all the same, like using your body together. Working your flexibility. Full range of motion, stuff you don't do when you're just lifting.
Right. And I feel like since we've been doing those reverse planks.
Oh yeah.
So we start out. He comes in, he warms up, and we get in this strap right here, and we do a 360, because this is the only strap that can do a 360 because the loop is here rather than your feet going in here, right?
Yeah.
So we get in and we do a push-up knee tuck. And the push-up knee tuck, we want to get into a regular plank. So the plank and the strap is way harder than your feet on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Right? We're going to round the back out, because in that Muay Thai stance, show us real quick what that looks like.
The Muay Thai stance, our upper back's a little bit rounded this way, so we got to kind of be right here. Nice and strong, hands up.
Yep. And because you're actually extended back, this is in a contracted position rather than standing straight up and your stomach's hanging out.
Exactly.
Right? So you're all ready to tighten up, and it should be kind of tight anyway. You know what I mean? So as you throw that punch and you miss, or you connect and they kick at the same time, you got those muscles tight.
Yeah.
Right? So we get in that plank position, and we actually mimic that. Then we make you retract the shoulder blades to go down into a push-up. And then we extend up and keep pushing through, just like we threw that punch, or just like we're blocking. And then we pull those knees into the chest. When we pull those knees into the chest, we actually rotate up a little bit more, and we put all the emphasis on that shoulder, right? So now we got this tight, all of these muscles are tight, all these shoulder muscles back here are tight at the same time. So they encapsulize that rotator cuff, and then nothing can happen to that rotator cuff. So what we do is we take that same concept and we apply it to every single sport, right?
Yeah.
So once we do that, we'll open out and do a reverse plank. So we'll turn our feet in this thing. We're still on that bar, and we're going to reverse plank. So in that reverse plank, it's giving you the flexibility and the range of motion through the shoulder blades, opening up that chest, closing the posterior delt, the rhomboids, the traps, all of those muscles.
Oh yeah.
Right? So we've gained so much flexibility because your hips were low, and now your hips are above parallel.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Right. So what how do you feel that same thing in that room?
You just feel it like more range of motion. So when I'm throwing like strikes or even just any position I'm in, I feel like I'm good because I don't feel like I'm gonna like pull something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel too tight. I'm always feeling like, even arms wise, like I have a lot of flexibility. I can pop my shots more quicker, with more pop behind it. I just feel nice and sturdy.
Yeah.
My
and then that kind of
stabilizing.
mind-body connection. So when I work with armor, when we first started, he was like talking about like this suit of armor, right? So I had that image in my head, and I said, "Yo, I'm gonna use that during my workouts, right? Because if I go punch somebody, everything's got to be tight. The power generates from the ground, goes through all your legs, through your glutes, through your core, through your arms, and your arms are not actually fully doing all that punching.
Yeah.
Just like we're throwing a ball,
Whole
right?
body. Yep.
So now we're icing up the elbow, we're icing up the shoulder because the arm is doing all the motion instead of, and I remember that TV. My sons used to watch my Dragon Ball Z, where he drums up all that energy and then he goes like this. It's the same thing, right?
Same idea. He uses it all.
Yeah.
His whole body.
So have you noticed? Because you get hit. There's no way you can go out there.
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful
Part
if
of
you
the
didn't
sport.
get hit.
Yeah,
Part
it'd
of
be
the
great.
sport. Have you noticed that all your muscles, like the surface muscles, like your obliques and intercostals, your abs, the rectus abdominis, and all that stuff, have you noticed that part's tighter, and then when somebody kicks you, it either doesn't move you a lot or it doesn't hurt?
Absolutely. I feel like I'm just more grounded, if that makes sense, more solid. I feel honestly leaner in a sense, like where I have leaner, tighter muscle. But I always feel like I'm just like nice and solid. Like I really feel like even if you kick me, I'll walk right through it.
Right. That's good. A great feeling. So tell me what, we were talking about this the other day, nutrition, right? So a lot of these guys, like I train a lot of high level wrestlers and in fighters and stuff like that. And they all go through this whole weight loss thing, like cutting weight.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a silly mindset.
Silly mindset.
Yeah.
And it's a part of the sport. Like it's made up. Like I can't change it.
Yeah.
And when you walk into me, you have this like, oh, I'm cutting weight.
Yeah.
And that's the reason for everything.
Yeah. No energy. You don't have
energy.
anything, like no mental energy, no physical energy.
So where do you keep yourself?
So I try and keep myself, when I'm fighting, I'll fight within literally 5 pounds almost of my weight. So when I'm training, I'm just trained. Like by the time I get to the fight, all the work, I put the work in. That's how I'm losing my weight. I don't try and cut food out. I still eat my same amount of carbs, protein, eating all my full meals, fruits, vegetables, everything.
And you stay lean.
And I stay lean, strong, and I feel my best.
Right.
And because I had a little time where I cut a little weight, and I realized it's just terrible for your body.
And it's better to eat healthy all year long.
Yeah, all year long, just eat good.
Because your body's accustomed to doing that. Right?
And our bodies are like machines.
Yeah,
you
you're
gotta
accustomed
feel
to doing that.
Yeah.
But yet we cut 20 pounds to go fight, and we're not accustomed to that.
Yeah, and it's exactly. It doesn't make any sense. We train as hard as we can. We work our body up to be peak condition just to tear ourselves down.
Right.
And then go out there and fight, and we feel like shit because
Right.
So.
And I always feel like too is if I have to do that, I'm really not sure if the other guy's doing it. Well, we're both at we're both not 100%. But they did a lot of studies of like people cutting weight and brain function and all that stuff. That dramatically goes down when you cut weight, and people think I cut weight, I weighed in, and now let me go eat.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
I like that really doesn't make
and
any
eat things
sense.
that you never eat.
Right.
So they'll go eat like a cheeseburger with fries. Or like.
Say put the poison in before the fight.
It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. And dehydration's another one.
Yeah, right.
It's another factor. You're just killing your body.
And then by the time you get done, we're really not able to speak our name.
Yep. I know it's definitely. I wish more people would trend toward competing at their own weight in every sport, every aspect.
And I feel like
combat.
that's part of being high level.
Yep.
Right.
I do too.
You're
Professional.
You're not a normal person.
Yeah.
It's not like you know, and you want to be like that. You don't want to be the average, ordinary Joe.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be that different person. You
Yeah.
want to be the guy that says, okay, he's a pro,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what they do.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I've worked this hard. I've gotten this far. I'm not going to go do my amateur stuff anymore.
No.
I'm going to do my pro stuff.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. There's levels to it.
And you start it before you become a pro, because that's how you're going to be a
So
pro.
you're gonna build up to it. You want to build that mindset.
Yeah.
You should always be ready, and then always be getting better daily. You shouldn't
Right.
be stopping your training. Stopping training for a fight and then just stopping and then eating like crap. You
Right.
should stay on it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you get better. Consistency.
Right. So the one thing I do want to talk about too is, as a kid, you had like a lower back issue.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
When I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
like 15 about, I had a bulging disc in my lower back.
And how'd you get that?
And I got that through, I lifted weights. When at the time, yeah, at a young age, I was lifting, like trying to deadlift,
Mm-hmm.
and just being stupid, young kid.
Yeah.
And I injured my back, and then it fully got hurt. Like I was wrestling my junior year, I want to say, and my lower back just gave out,
Mhm.
and I ended up I went to the doctor, had two bulging discs in my lower back. I wasn't able to move really for like 6 months, so I had to rehab it kind of by just like working out, doing push-ups, body weight things, and then I got back to where I could do live my life, but it definitely caused some imbalances, if that makes sense.
Or you had the imbalance before that actually happened.
Yeah, either
And then
or,
it causes
one or the other.
more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
So how's the back doing now?
Back's much better nowadays.
Mhm.
Much better. I don't feel the actual back, but one thing when me and John were working together was I was losing, my back was doing too much work.
Right.
So whenever we'd be doing core and plank positions, my back would be giving out a little bit, so
Yeah.
kind of caving in, and it was doing way too much work, putting strain on my lower back. But with the work we've put in, I feel like a lot better, honestly. I feel like I'm a lot more, using the right muscles now. I'm stabilizing it, not putting too much emphasis on that back anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
And I was thinking, like, what was the exercise that kind of woke us up to that?
I honestly think it was to me, I don't know. I feel like it was the 360 strap here.
Yeah.
Doing the planks
But
and
what
tucking my
woke
belly.
us up to it? I think it was the
Oh, what
loaded
woke us up
lunge,
to it? Got you.
right? Remember we had to get in that loaded lunge. We had to hop on top of the
Oh
block
yeah,
and
yeah,
lock
yeah, yeah,
lunge.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
You're
you
right.
kept getting numb down the right
Yeah,
side.
you're right. You're right.
into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
knee.
yeah. Yeah. So I was starting to feel this like tingling sensation, almost like numbness in my quad, and yeah, that's what it was.
And we kept
You're right.
saying, what the hell's wrong with you?
Mhm.
And then that's when we dove a little deeper and we was like, what happened to you, And then you came up with, the back issues. So then that part of it led me to actually change your program a little bit.
Yeah,
Because we were just going to just go around the room and just keep going.
yeah,
And then I had to actually go to more of, like, actual workouts that put you in those positions to stretch and open.
yeah.
Right? Because
Strengthen that.
the muscles are pulleys, right?
Mhm.
So if I straighten out my arm, I always ask this question: if I straighten out my arm, which muscle is lengthened and which muscle is contracted? They can't be both.
Yeah, no, it
Right?
can't be.
So if this is lengthened, this has to be contracted. So I always tell people muscles are like pulleys.
Mhm.
If one does this motion, the other one has to do this motion. So when we're in that lunge, right, and you did the block jumps,
Mhm.
the closing part was probably pinching the same area. Maybe it was even the piriformis or something like that.
Yeah.
Like in that lower back, there's
Yeah, who
something
knows?
off there that that we had to fix
Mhm.
and open up. And then the other day, we put you in a stretch with these straps, and I made you twist, and we really found out where it was.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
So in that case, it's not just an exercise for, to work out and get stronger. It was actually to get something to release,
Mhm.
right? Now, question for you: did you ever feel that in your training? Did you ever feel that limitation in your training? We stumbled on it here.
I feel like, in a sense, there was times where I don't know if I wouldn't get like numbness per se, because I guess like that motion wasn't happening. But there was times like even my right shoulder has had times where I feel like it would almost get more fatigued quicker
Right.
than my left one did almost. Stuff like that. Like on the right side though, it's always the right side.
Right.
And you brought that up to me saying it's weird. It's funny, you notice how it's all right side.
Right.
You know, like even my trap, I'll get like that pinch, you know, always my right side.
Yep.
So it's like, I think those are just the imbalances, you know, just me maybe put too much emphasis on certain muscles.
Or compensating.
Yeah,
down
compensating
here
with, exactly, yeah.
And that
So,
like little balance is just a little off, you know?
so I would definitely say there was some limitations that we've been working on.
So, when you're doing, like I saw you doing light sparring the other day, right? And I saw a couple guys in there that kind of looked like they're like almost high level also. One was that bigger guy, he was a bald head, I forget his name. He was with Iman first and then you went with him afterwards. I think you were with Dylan also.
Yeah, Dylan's
So
very
the
good
other
as well.
guy that was decent.
Yeah, I'm just forgetting the room. But
Yeah.
You're right. You're probably right.
Yeah.
I just can't even remember who it was
What I
right
did
now.
notice was just even in a couple months, your reflexes are so much faster.
Yeah.
Like you threw a kick to the body, and then he like brought this elbow down to block it, right? Which I don't know if it's right or wrong, but and then you uppercutted him with the left hand to the right side of his jaw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So right then and there, I thought that's the reverse plank.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no,
because you have no power if you don't.
Yeah, it gives you the extra pop.
Yeah.
And that's me throwing it light with my hand open, just popping it. You know?
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that. Like my reflexes and like I've always had great timing, but I feel like it's like that fast twitch is getting just better and better and better.
Yeah. And then you got to go through something in this room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You got to go through something.
Oh yeah.
And then most people, like I've traveled all over the country. I've traveled outside of the country, and I put all high level people on it. And some bought the bar, some bought my training, and then some people said, one Navy SEAL in particular who's getting ready to fight, or he has been fighting. I got my trainer now. We're gonna do some stuff. So, you know, I'm not gonna get the bar now, but you know, I'll tell him about it because he couldn't finish. Now, could you imagine? I said I'm gonna be a fighter. I'm going to fight, but I'm not finding the best tools to make me the best mentally and physically.
It's crazy.
I know his trainer ain't doing that with him.
Yeah.
So you just leave that out? You just leave out your core training?
Yeah.
You think a medicine ball's gonna do the same thing? You think Russian twists are gonna do the same thing?
No, it's
not gonna.
Yeah, it's
Because
different.
it doesn't involve anything. When you do a plank and you get in that plank position and that high plank and you dorsiflex and push that ball around the room, you're working everything.
Oh yeah.
It's time under tension.
Yeah. And it's the functionality of it.
Right.
You know, it's more real. I mean, it's more realistic.
Right.
What we're doing.
Right.
It's almost like doing what we're doing just in a plank. You know, you're doing the same mechanics kind of, you know. Even if you go from a high to a low.
Right.
To a
The
jump.
same thing, yeah.
Same
same
idea.
thing.
Like you're always going here to here.
Yep.
Here for elbows, whatever, every shorter range.
Actually, you
whatever it is.
stumbled on something that I was going to ask, but I'm glad you did. Because, you know, just thinking of, you know, how that program is working and how you're fighting, and you think about all the sports that the same thing happens, right?
Yeah.
A tennis player doesn't always stretch out to hit the ball.
Any sport.
A basketball player doesn't always have his arms straight. A blocker, a guy blocking, a guy tackling, you know, a baseball player throwing.
Definitely.
And then getting the body to understand, getting the mind to understand that the whole body has to do it.
Yeah.
So one of my analogies is, let's say this room is filled with people, 150 people, and it started snowing outside, right? And we're having a nice little party, and the snow is like at a foot now.
Yeah.
I go out and I start shoveling, right? One muscle, one person. Wouldn't it be easier if everybody grabbed a shovel and went out and helped me?
It would.
Same thing with your muscles.
Recruiting everyone.
Recruiting everything.
Yeah.
And now one muscle's not working 100%. I've got all of them working at a higher level.
Yeah.
And I can't say if it's 100% or not, but that's what we hope. We hope that, you know, I get the couch potato muscles off the couch, activate them, and then they can only hold up for a certain long because they've been sitting so long.
Yeah.
Now I have to build them into time under tension.
Yep.
you know, and that takes time.
Yeah, you got to teach yourself for sure. I mean, just doing it, honestly, you get on the bar like a few times and you'll start noticing muscles that you've never used.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of muscles I feel like people don't even know about.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, don't even think about.
I had a guy in last weekend. I trained him in high school, and then he went on to play college football, and then he got a job and he left. Well, I don't know how many years later, he has a 10-year-old, and now his 10-year-old comes to me, right? So he's at the door, and he's like, "Come on," whatever his name is, "Come on, come on." He's like, "Oh, he's got to work." I said, "Do me a favor, grab a bar." And I made him do the kids' workout. Well, he couldn't finish either. So you're sitting there telling somebody what to do, but you haven't experienced it at all yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't know if that was hard for the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like, and Armor's really good at that, our instructor. He's really good at starting from the basics.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still doing the basics. I've progressed, but my basics still have to get perfected.
The fundamentals are key.
Like
you have to work on them no matter what.
Right.
For as long
Because they
as
disappear.
Yeah, they do.
Right.
You think you can't go to other even when you're doing other stuff, it all really starts at the basics.
Right.
The foundations. You know, you just kind of build off of that.
So if I don't revisit those foundations every single time I go in that room, I lose them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I don't revisit that foundation of my body, the core strengthening, time under tension, right? I'm not gonna have it when I need it, right? But most people dodge those things.
Yeah.
Right? The Navy SEAL that I was just dodging it. Well, you can dodge it for a while, but you're gonna get exposed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can call me now, or you can call me 15 fights in when you're making money. You know, and I believe the UFC is, because I think that's where he's going. The UFC is, you make a certain amount of money. If you win, you double it.
Yeah.
So he might be that person that just makes that money. But imagine walking out of there, you made 200,000. Imagine you won, and you walked out with 400,000.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that for 3 fights. You know?
Yeah, no, it's a game changer.
It's 600,000 or 1.2 million.
Everything you can, really.
Yeah.
To be the best you can.
Yeah. So, fun question. Anywhere in the world, right, at any time, who would you like to fight?
Anywhere in the world at any time? That'd be crazy.
Like even if you were just at that level, who would be that?
Like just anyone?
Yeah, that fighter that you.
It would be whoever the best of the best would be. Like I feel like that'd be the most fun challenge. So someone at my weight, I mean, it's the guys in Thailand.
Right.
It's like a Towan Chai or something, or like a Super Bond type guy.
Yeah.
Because those are the guys that are in my weight range, but they're like the best guys in the world.
Right.
So you get the most out of that. You know, that'd be the coolest thing ever.
Have you trained in Thailand before?
Not yet. Trying to go there as soon as possible. You know, I've been doing this for a long time, and I haven't got to go to Thailand, which is like one of my dreams.
Yeah,
you know what
I remember before COVID or during COVID, you guys were supposed to go.
Yeah, there was a couple times I was kind of supposed to, and just money, life, things just got in the way. But I'm trying to get there this year. You know, I'm trying to get there, try and compete out there. That'd be my real goal, you know.
How long would you go for? I mean, that's a long flight, ain't it?
Yeah, I would go there for definitely some time, you know, at the probably like a month to 2 months, and try and really get some knowledge, get a couple fights in, just gain as much as I can out there while I'm there.
Right.
You know, while I go out. I'm hoping at some point, be able to fight there, fighting there for a living.
Right.
You know? So
right.
That's the real end goal.
And the difference I see is like when I go on YouTube and stuff like that, and I search, and I'm like, why is this guy 20-something years old and he's got 300 fights?
Yeah. They just fight all day. I mean, it's their like life.
Yeah.
So I guess they start so young.
One thing I didn't realize is tournaments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So somebody could be 20-0.
That's a big factor.
But they might have had 5 fights
and
in
that's,
one tournament.
Yeah, even here,
3
like
fights.
that's the thing here. Like you get a lot of people. That's the thing where it's like, who are you fighting? There's some people who go in a tournament and they have like levels in the tournament. So it's like you could be fighting people with 1 to 2 fights, And if you win in those easier brackets, if you have some talent, you win like 5, 6 fights. That's 6 fights right there.
Yeah.
But your record could be like 10-0, but you haven't fought really that level of competition.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So it's kind of deceiving to know. You know, it's more, in my opinion, like fighting the better opponents you're fighting. That's how you're really going to push yourself.
Right, right.
You know, not just by building up some record. Because I don't think that makes. I don't know. I'm trying. If you're trying to be the best you are, you're trying to be pushing yourself. You know, you don't want easy fights. Don't want easy matchups. So it's the same thing with training yourself.
Yeah.
Like you want to be doing the best.
Definitely. So one of the things my business is doing and want to do is we're real early in the stages. So we've did the market testing for over a year. We've got to really high level people, and it's testing it. Like, does this product work? Does it say what it does? What's the value? How do you relate it from what you're doing to other sports? You know. So one of the things that we're looking to do is, as we start with our kids at 7 years old and work them through, that we end up being the like the financial backing for that athlete. You know what I mean? So when you just mentioned Thailand, you know, when that bar gets to that level, then this company will pay for you to go to Thailand to get the best training, get the best fighting, and that's how we sponsor.
Okay,
you know what I mean? So that's where we want to go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, you wear our gear and all that stuff, and you get your trainer to go out with you, you know. But then there's got to be somebody who kind of takes over the classes while your guys are gone for 2 months.
Yeah. That's the big thing.
And that was the hardest thing when I traveled this year. Is I know I had to go somewhere. Like, I'm in American Top Team in Florida for 3 days, but I have a training center here with 100 clients. You know, you got to find that right person that if you step out, that they're still going to respect it. They're still going to say, okay, cool. It's not forever, but he's good enough, or you know, just as good, that I feel like I'm getting the same workout. I feel like I'm getting the same discipline. I feel like, you know what I mean?
It's like a reliable trainer.
Yeah.
Reliable.
Right.
For sure.
And they know what they're doing, and they're not going to be late. They're not going to, you know.
Yeah, that's very important.
Oh, I slept in, or you know, things like that. You know.
Definitely.
And that's kind of like what you do with Armor. Like, you're actually a coach. For Armor, because he bought you from a puppy. To a adult dog, you know what I mean? And then now you're subbing out and earning some money while you're fighting, so you don't just have to go get a regular job and you're outside. You're trying to keep, you know what I mean?
And I want to be doing this, like, because it makes you better.
Right.
Like, being a coach and just being, like, everything I do now is just Muay Thai. So my life is just that, you know? That's how I want it to be, because that's my career, you know? Focused on that solely.
Right. And how has Muay Thai helped you in other aspects of your life?
Oh, it's insane. It's like it's literally just night and day, everything. You know, like my, just your confidence levels, obviously your physical level, you just feel great, better mood, always more optimistic, more positive, looking forward to, you know, challenges, and also resiliency.
Right.
It makes you much more resilient. Like, I feel like I can really go through, you know, life's gonna hit you in every way, you know. So it's like, I feel like it's very good to strengthen your mind up.
Yeah. That's a part of that. You know, what Armor said is, you know, the suit of armor is not just your body getting kicked. It's this piece
the
right
mindset.
Here. Because you're in those fights and you're like, okay, I might be losing right now. You know what I mean?
That's in fighting is. Once you get to a point, you're physically a beast. Obviously, you can get better, but the mind is really where the difference is made. Because no matter how good you are without like a solid mindset, you're not gonna make it. You know, it's just so important to work on that daily discipline. That's where discipline comes in. Just being consistent.
And it's funny too. I talked to so I went out and I did all this market research and all this. I came up with this crazy ass workout that nobody could finish. So I started talking to these high level guys. These guys make, you know, they're coaches, they help you out, and I reached out to them. Nobody answered. All of a sudden this guy answers. And he was like, yo, I love your bar. He said, I want to give you some free advice. And I'm like, okay. He said, are you ready for the free advice? I said, yeah, I'll take it. Because you don't want people to tell you, you know, you act like you know everything. It's like an instructor, you know? And he was like, it's way too complicated. He said, if you send me that bar and you tell me that you gotta wait till I fly out to show you. It's way too complicated, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, okay. He says, why don't you simplify it a little bit? That a simplification of this bar and come up with like a video progression. So here I am thinking, because my clients are so high level, even my 8-year-olds, you know, even my 80-year-old clients can get on that bar and do way more than this professional athlete. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense, but they don't train that way, you know? So I said to myself, okay, the hardest one is the plank jumps or the low plank walks. So why don't I scale that back and come up with a plank that I'm not moving? One on my knees. And then progress to not being on your knees. And then progress to a side plank and a reverse plank. And then make the high plank be that now plank jump. So that way, 98% of the people who don't do anything at all, because it's really only 2% that work out on a regular basis every week. Consistently.
Definitely.
And 70% of our population are overweight by 20 pounds, right? So the percentage is not the fighters, the percentage is the non-fighters. So here you have this bar that does that much damage, but it's only going out to the 2%. So if I want to help the world, why don't I figure out how to help the whole world? You know what I mean? So I'm serving now regular people. So I came out with a program that you do a 30-second plank on the bar. And the reason why you do the bar is because you're gripping something. If I have my hands on the ground or my elbows, I'm not gripping anything. So what I'm missing automatically is muscles in the hands, muscles in the forearms, and certain rotator cuff muscles. Now I grab onto it and I extend through, push that belly to the spine, get in that plank. Now I'm offering more stabilization, so I'm working core more, right? So that could be something that a ex-athlete who played something 20 years ago, not doing anything now except drinking and smoking and working and, you know, now he can do it in his house for 30 seconds, minute off, 30 seconds, minute off, 30 seconds, minute off, take a shower and go to work.
And he's getting some work in. Like he's working his whole body, you know, he's at least working his body.
Right.
You know,
because it's 10 years of not doing anything. And the only thing he can think about is, when I used to play football, or when I used to fight, or when I used to box, or when I used to do this is what I did, and he still thinks he can do that. And then that's why he never starts, because he knows the work he put in and the pain he put in. And he don't want to go through that. He don't want to be sore for 2 weeks. You know? So that progression, I also do with high-level athletes, except I just change the minutes. Right?
That's all,
So now you can hold the plank for a minute off and stretch, minute off and stretch. So the days that I'm not training you, that's what I'm making everybody do. So then I can progress them from that to a plank walk. Instead of,
so you're basically just peeling back some layers.
Peeling back the
really
layers.
Just to like dumb it down almost.
Dumb it down. Because they didn't have it in the first place. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then after he told me that, I was like,
it makes sense. I mean, that goes with everything, you know. It's like when you have a lot of knowledge, it's hard to know sometimes where to start, you know, like how simple to go, you know. It's the same with Muay Thai. You know, you have to like start really basic. When you get someone brand new, it's like...
So in these fights, right, you have that spinning elbow. They want to do that glorified spinning elbow before a regular punch.
Before they can't even throw a jab, and they're trying to throw a spinning. They're like, "How do I throw a spinning hook kick?" You're like, "What?"
Same thing, right?
Yeah, you're just.
I did the same thing.
So it's like it is. That's very true. Everyone wants to like jump to that like high level before they've even learned how to take a footstep. You know. So
and then what the problem is one guy might do it and it might work.
That is the problem.
Like, oh gosh, now he thinks it's for real.
That is what the problem is, man.
Oh man,
it's funny.
Well, I tell you, brother, it took a long time to get you in here. Right.
Glad we did.
We did. I think it was actually the nice, precise time, because as you're building your body functionally, you're also building your mind. You know what I mean? And most people feel like I already know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But if you just took a step back and said, okay, let me try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
and
That's
then I
all it
gave you a
is.
couple things, and it's
Mhm.
like, yo, it's
It's
adding
awesome.
to what I'm already
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, yeah.
I'm not replacing it.
No.
I you know, in my subconscious, I do have to make that change.
Yeah.
Like, you ever drive here and see every tree that you saw or every
No,
landmark?
yeah.
No,
No,
you've
you
driven
don't
here
even
and say,
look.
oh shoot, I'm here already.
Yeah, you don't even look.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
you're
just like fighting. If you had to actually think about every punch, you'd be a terrible fighter.
yeah, you'd be knocked out.
Right.
You're thinking.
So, but if you had to dig back in your subconscious and bring that out
Yeah.
and change the data,
Mm-hmm.
not change it, but build it,
Build
and put
off,
it back
yeah.
in.
Absolutely.
You might have to pull it out 4 or 5 times
Mm-hmm.
to be great.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you take that formula, because that's your winning formula,
Mm-hmm.
and you add it to every other aspect to your life. You add it to, you got a girlfriend, you add it to your relationship, you add it to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're already adding it to your training and stuff like that. You add it, someday you're going to be married, someday you're going to be a parent, you
Mhm.
know, someday you're going to have a loss.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
literally you can add it to everything.
And if you're
Yeah.
scattered all over the place with everything and you just don't have no formula,
Mm-hmm.
how do you beat half of that?